Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ghost the Talk Show. And I'm sure one of you guys are surprised why we're doing silence. So somebody close to me passed away last night. So that's why we decided we're not going to play the music. We're just going to do the silence. Hope you guys are okay. And John, can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, hello, wherever you are in the world. Sometimes in life, we aren't able to find the quality, and that can be down to a number of things. But a 75-year study by Yale University in America correlated that the quality of your life is directly correlated to the quality of your relationships. And if you aren't able to bring in and sustain quality relationships, then there's always going to be something missing as far as the level of fulfillment. So it's a really important area for you to focus on and to work on. And generally you'll find that the quality of your relationships comes from the quality of the relationship that you have with yourself. The relationship you have with yourself is the most important relationship that you're ever going to have, because it will dictate the kind of relationships you're attracted to and the ones that you attract towards you. So if you feel like there's something missing in your life, it would be a really important step if you can just the relationships around you and see where they can be improved. I'm John Kenny, the relationship guy, and I'm a coach to successful singles who struggle with intimate relationships.
Thank you so much, John Kenny. Is it my end or John's audio is doing something? Kamal?
I think it's playing around a bit in and out.
Do I need to get out of the sunshine and go back inside?
Okay, that's John Kenny. That's Kamal as well. One of you need to mute yourself. Mute yourself, John.
How about that?
Yeah, Kamal, introduce yourself to our audience. Let's see how it goes with you.
Thank you very much, John, for your introduction, and Nomsa. Well, as John said, wherever you may be in the world watching us now or later on, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. The vast majority of people live their life as it is, as it comes by to them, with no sense of purpose, not knowing where to go next or what to do. They live perhaps confused with the values that they grew up with, contra the values that they were conditioned into by society, public figures of authority, and even parents. And of these people, a lot of them also feel that they're living in a hamster wheel, constantly running, constantly grinding, with no sense of direction, with a lack of fulfillment and a lack of belonging into their lives. My name is Kamal Amer. I'm a certified NLP trainer, master practitioner, hypnotherapist, and a life purpose specialist. And with a combination of ancient Egyptian methodology and neuro-linguistic programming, I help you create a foundation to a life of harmony, balance, and purpose.
Thank you so much, Kamal. I don't know what John is going. So our topic today is, what action can you take today to make sure your future self will thank you for? So this is basically a topic that will raise the question in your inner being. So Kamal, please, would you like to talk about the topic to our audience?
Well, would I like to? Now I have to. No, of course, I'll be glad to talk about it a little bit. I'll give my opinion, of course, as usual, and John will give his. Now, the future self, we don't really understand where it's going to be, especially if we don't have any goals. We don't know where we're going with our life, what we're going to do with it. And we're talking about actions that we can take today. Well, the actions that one can take today is actually deciding and choosing what they want for their future. You see, everything starts with a choice. The decision maybe as well, but that choice of whether you're going to continue on this path, choose another direction, go left, go right, go up, go down, and all of that is a choice. A lot of people think that we don't have any choice in life. The truth of the matter is there's always a choice, even if it's a choice that we don't like. And that choice at some point has to be made to understand where we're going to go for the future, or to know specifically what we want to do for the future. So before we decide on taking actions, we need to understand and know exactly where we want to be, how we want to be, or how we want to behave. And once we know that, we can then decide, okay, what are the actions, or what is the action plan that I have prepared for myself for that future that I want? What do you think, John?
Yes, I think everybody's different in the way they all kind of sit with this kind of message. We all have our own way of looking at ourselves, looking at our lives, looking at the futures that we want. We all have our own, as Kamal knows, being the NLP practitioner that he is, we are away from people or towards people. We are motivated by different things. Statistically, however, 89% to 94% of people don't even think about this. They just live their life as if, you know, day to day. We're not really taught as kids. It's not part of our curriculum to think, to figure out who we are, to really kind of think about what it is that's best for us. We are directed in certain spaces and to do certain things, and there's expectations that are placed upon us. And the majority of people then just live life, going through the motions, doing what they think they should do, doing what they think they have to do, maybe meeting needs from their past which are out of date and even could be maladaptive in some ways and are not going to bring them the things that they want. Because we're not taught how to think in a more fulfilling way. What is it that we really want from life? What is it that we really need from life? What suits us? And I think that's an important message. That the one thing I'll be trying to kind of say today is, you know, you need to think now so that when you are perhaps on your deathbed, or you're talking about your life in a few years' time, that you're grateful to yourself for making the right decisions for you, and how important that is for you to really consider that. Otherwise, you know, as I said in the introduction, even if it's something like your relationships, most people are unaware of the impact of how your relationship with yourself, your relationship with others actually makes you feel. And if you don't start to become aware of those types of things now, in all areas of your life, then in a few years' time, you might look back and say, do you know what? I could have done so much more. I could have done so much better. I could have been kinder to myself. I could have followed that dream. And it's important that we take that time out now to start to think about where our lives are and where we want them to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John and Kamal, and the audience, those who are watching. Please, if you're watching, if you want to get involved to the conversation, please just type a message. Let's communicate. Like John is saying, basically, you need to know where you're going. So just get involved with the Ngozi Talk Show, type the questions, or if you have your own opinion, just get involved and type your own opinion. We like to hear from you. It's nice when somebody is watching and then they're getting involved. So that is lovely. Thank you so much, guys. And Kamal, you talk about choice. In life, basically, you're going to have to make a choice. I was listening to one of the Peter Page. He was doing a 5-day challenge. At the end of a 5-day challenge, he put a video, 6-day challenge. It became the 6th one as a gift. So he talks about you have to make a decision in life to be who you want to be. And he says if you go on social media, you read a book, some of the books, it feels like it's semi-information. It's just been changed the cover. Basically, somebody has written it in the same way like it was written by somebody else, but written the cover. He says basically the message was, we all have a choice. We all have a message within us. Like Kamal, he was saying, we all have a message within us. You're gonna have to decide to trust the message within you, to trust that you can actually become who you want to become. Like you guys, you know that I'm not a British person. I was born and raised in Africa, but when I came to the UK, I was faced with a situation to actually divorce my language, saying I'm African. I had to see myself as a human being who just immigrated to a different country and learn a different culture. Keep my culture and try to learn somebody else's culture. Because me saying I'm Black, no one is gonna listen to me. That was a blockage in my life that was blocking me to take action. Well, it was blocking me to actually take action because I was making excuses that no one will listen to me. But guess what? If I have a message that makes sense to people, people are willing to listen. So that was my mistake, that I was labeling myself. And that's why when people are saying, they talk about racism, I don't get involved because I know that racism exists. In the white community, it exists in the Black community. There are Black people that are racist towards white people. There are white people that are racist to Black people. I just see them crazy. I just label them as crazy, those who are racism. Instead of me saying, if I'm as a Black person, if I say something, no one is going to listen to me. It has been my hindrance and it's been real. I had to work on myself and believe in me that I am a normal person. I am a human being. So that's why I chose this topic, that what action can you take today? For me, it was an action to take and divorce, making excuses that as a Black person, no one is going to listen to me. I had lots of excuses. You guys, you hear them as we go along. Before I took action to become the real, whatever I'm doing now, I had loads of excuses. Trust me, you'll hear them. So over to you, John. Oh, yes, Kamal. Over to you, Kamal, please.
Look, labeling oneself and all of that, that has to do with the identity and how things are and how we're conditioned. Now, coming back to the subject itself as well, the actions that you took, right? It's to take action and say, look, I'm going to be handling my life like this. This is what I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to be thinking from now on. And these are the actions that you took back then, which led you obviously to where you are today. And one of the big things that I believe is kind of it's a challenge for a lot of people. You know, that question of if you could go back as a teenager or 20 years back, would you make the same choices? And the problem with that is that a lot of people don't realize that, yes, they do some of them have regrets, but they don't realize that that path that they took led them to where they are today. And no matter where they are, no matter what the choices that they've made, it's almost as if saying it would have been a completely parallel universe or a parallel future that they would have. So there's no point thinking of it because the result is that where they are here. Now, why I'm saying this is that all these actions were based on choices that they wanted in their life. All these actions that they took in the past have led them to see a future that they wanted perhaps, or even perhaps that they didn't want, right? Again, it was a choice. Now, speaking from today, if you are a person that wants a better future for yourself, There must be things that you have seen in your mind, heard about, or thought or felt that you want to do. Whether it's your purpose, your ikigai, your sense of raison d'être, whatever you may call it. Some of us do believe and feel that there's a reason. If you are a person that believes in nature and evolution, the earth, evolution, Mother Nature hasn't created anything without a sense of purpose or existence. And everything that exists has a certain future. Even the plants, they take actions every day, right? By digging their roots deeper to find the minerals that they need so that they can grow, so that they can have their flowers bloom, so that the pollen goes around. And I know it's pollen season the past month and now, so God bless everybody that has pollen allergies. But the idea is that we are in constant motion as human beings, as nature, as Mother Nature, as the world. We are in motion of change. So how can you right now refuse to change, refuse to be part of that change? You are in constant change, whether you agree with it or not. Now, the actions that you will be taking for your future, I think somebody, Nomsa, can you mute yourself, I think? Well, anyway, but the actions that we're going to be taking right now are the ones that are going to create your future, the future that you want. These actions have to be calculated, they have to be analyzed, they have to be thought thoroughly. To not implement too many actions, too many steps for yourself. Remember, you need to, it's like with toddlers and babies, right? You learn how to crawl first before you can stand on your feet, before you can run. Yes, I do agree with the other part of the saying that sometimes you have to run before you walk. Yes. But in this case, if you want a stable future, if you want to change the future that you've had up until now, you have to plan ahead and understand what it is you want in your future. You have to really visualize the future that you want. You have to know what your goal is in life. Whether they're small goals or big goals, there's a variety of them. And once you know these goals that you want in your life, you can break them down into smaller goals and smaller goals and smaller goals until you reach a stage where you have goals that are manageable, step by step, day by day, right? Coming from a sporty background, right, an athlete's background, you don't go running for a marathon the first day. You say, I'm going to do a marathon, and then you go start running 42 kilometers on your own. It takes practice. First, you need to know which shoes you're going to wear, the equipment that you're going to carry. You need to know that you can walk a certain distance at least, and then that you have the conditioning, right, that you can run a little bit more. Nobody starts running a marathon right now. So there are steps in life, and these actions, they will be decided by you and the future that you want. Thank you.
Now, over to you, John, please.
Yeah, just to come back to your point, Nomsa, about the self-belief and believing in yourself that you have a voice and you deserve to be heard. I still struggle with that now. I've been doing this for years, and occasionally I'll be sitting writing something, or I'll be going on a podcast, and all of a sudden this little voice in my head will go, yeah, but who wants to listen to you? And I go, I do. I want to listen to me. And I then have to kind of bring myself into that confidence space that I know, what I'm going to say is going to resonate with some people, but not everybody. But if it just resonates with one person and they take action based on the things that I say and are able to change their life in a positive way, then that's the only thing that I need to kind of make sure that I focus on. And just, again, I know my stuff, and I need to just believe that I know my stuff, and people will buy into it if it's the right message for them. Coming back to a few things that Kamal said about I chose not to have hay fever. About 5 years ago, I've had hay fever since I was about 21, and I developed hay fever in a very high level of stress relationship where it was very toxic, very unhealthy space for me to be in, and I'd never had hay fever before. And then all of a sudden I came down with this really bad reaction to pollen, grass pollen. And about 5 years ago, and I was in a really good space, I'd kind of turned my life around and I was doing well. And I thought, well, if I had hay fever because of stress, because of the toxic and unhealthy relationship I was in, do I really want hay fever still? And from that day, I've said to myself, I don't have hay fever. And I occasionally get a very little itchy eye or something this time of year. And I just say to myself, I don't have hay fever. And my brain doesn't react in the same way anymore. And it's turned off the histamine reaction to the pollen. And I no longer have hay fever. So it's amazing what you can do if you make a decision for yourself about what you want and what you don't want in life. Now, I don't know how that's going to work for everybody else, but it definitely worked for me. So it's definitely worth a try if you have hay fever or any kind of allergy, to see what the power of your brain can do for you. Because it's amazing if you put your mind to something that you can turn things around completely. As Kamal said, I was an athlete as well. I used to run for Great Britain back in my late teens and early 20s as a sprinter. And I can tell you, I can completely concur, I didn't get there by not practicing. I used to train 6 or 7 times a week. I had the right kit, I had the right shoes, but more importantly, I had the right physical capabilities and put the effort in. I didn't have the right mindset, however. And if I'd had the right mindset back then, I would have been a much better athlete. I would have definitely fulfilled a lot more of my potential. But because my mindset was rubbish and I didn't believe in myself at all, and I was a big self-sabotager, so every time I would find something good in my life, I would do my best to kind of ruin it. And especially with the athletics, if I was running really well, I would maybe start clubbing, going out with girls, drinking too much, whatever I would do, but I would do something which would stop the success I was leading going further. And that thing about babies, you know, whenever you see a baby fall over and they're learning to walk, they don't just lie there, do they? You know, they want to be picked up, or they try and climb up something and they want to carry on. They really want to walk. They really want to be able to progress. And they're making a choice, even though they're completely unaware of the choice they're making at the time. Their instinct tells them that they need to move. They need to get up and they need to try again. And they'll fall over and they'll get up and they'll try again. And they'll get up and they'll fall over and they'll try again. And again, this is what we need to do, but that's what they know they want to do. They have this need, they have this instinct that they need to walk. And we can use that to our own advantage, even as adults now. We can look and say, you know, what is it that I want? I might fall over, but I will get back up and I will refocus. I will maybe need to change my plans, whatever that might be, because that thing hasn't worked. But what have I learned from that? You know, a child doesn't, you know, forget the first attempt, the second attempt, the fourth attempt. They kind of gradually, it goes in their head. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and then gradually they'll learn how to walk. And this is what we need to do when we are trying to put changes in place in our own lives. There's a consistency to change, and the only consistent thing in life is change. Day after day after day, we experience change. Your brain doesn't like it very much because it likes the familiar. It likes certainty. There are some people that love uncertainty and will create a certain amount of chaos for themselves because they need to create change all of the time because they're just not comfortable in a stable space. Again, that will have a lot to do with where they come from, as their background and their experiences as they've grown up. But it's important to recognize that the only consistency in life is change. And that if we don't allow change in our lives, then we're going to feel very uneasy and we're going to restrict ourselves and hold ourselves back because we're not going to allow ourselves to participate in something new, in something different, to change our mindset, to change our lives, to change our relationships. And we're going to get stuck. And we're going to repeat problems over and over again. We're going to have patterns of things that cause us problems if the things that we're doing aren't working. So acceptance of change is a really big important, and as Kamal said right at the start, acceptance of choices. There are no shoulds, there are no have tos. If you really wanted to, you could go and sit on your sofa and not move all day. If that's your choice, you don't have to do anything. But we feel like we're driven by expectations, either of ourselves or that they've been implanted by somebody else. And then we feel like we should, and we tell ourselves that we should a lot. As Tony Robbins says, we go around shoulding all over ourselves. And as I say in my documentary, it never feels good to should.
Thank you so much, Jonah. I agree with you when you say you got rid of hay fever. I used to think I had an allergy. When I was in South Africa, I used to sell perfumes, the designer perfumes. So I used to test everything before I spray. So just because I appear, people would know that this is Nomsa, she's coming to sell me something just with the smell. So when I came to the UK, I thought I had an allergy. And then I started having, basically, if I spray the perfume, basically I would start sneezing, or I basically lost the sense of smell, everything. And a few years ago, then I started the trip, going to the doctors. It was my daughter. I've got 2 children, the other one. And then I was like, a few days later, I was like, this is not normal. I'm spending time at the doctors. What is going on? And then when I was questioning everything, somebody spoke that you have chose the path that you want to choose. So then if you can't follow me, you are going to suffer until you say yes. So then I was like, Pastor, what's all this? And then he sat down with me, he said, Nomsa, sit down. And then he explained to me, your children are not sick, and you are not sick. You're going to have to get it in your head. It's going to have to go through to your head. You need to fight. You're not sick. So I was like, what are you talking about now? So it was like, that Bible that you are carrying, you don't understand it. Go and read it. Go back home and read it. So I went back and read the Bible. So and then I realized actually I've been reading something, but actually I didn't know the meaning of it. So I started believing that there's no such thing as sickness. And since that day, when Johnny says, talks about the allergy, I started fighting using my mind. I started fighting every time I get flu. One day I'll be like, no such thing as sickness. I just put oil in my head and just refuse. It just goes away. And I'll see my children, because they don't know how to fight it. They'll be like sneezing and they're sick. And I'm like, this is not right. What the hell is going on? Until I got it right. Until I realized what is going on. I'm not going to go into that part. Self-healing, basically, you have to understand when these Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and everybody, they talk about the things, that's when I realized they've gone through this path. It's real. So you have to, when you are somebody who keeps having problems, you have to figure out the roots, the path. That's when you have to make a decision, where you get the decision, which is a choice, where to get rid of the things that are affecting you in your life, and basically practice self-healing. It's like depression. When basically you are stressed, you produce chemicals from your brain, and that can affect you. But if you refuse, what happens if you refuse that I'm depressed? If you refuse and say, no, I'm stressed, I feel that I'm stressed, but I'm refusing for stress to take over my health, nothing is going to happen. You're going to fight the chemicals, and then you're going to go back, and then it's going to try again. So that's what happens in reality. So Kamal, you talk about, you don't just get up. When you're doing a marathon, you just don't get up and say, I'm going to run a 10K marathon. You have to practice. So I think I was into sports as well. I played football. I used to practice like John every single day, which I still do now. I don't play football anymore, but if I want to stay healthy, I have to do exercises 5 days a week. But somebody sees me that like, Nomsa, you're sexy. I want your body. I'm like, do you know what I have to go through to get this? I have to practice. Sometimes I don't have to do it 1 hour. Sometimes I do it 20 minutes, half an hour, because it's basically I've been doing it for a long time. So if you want to take action, back to the topic, you look at people, don't say, I want to, don't judge yourself. Step by step. Like Kamal was saying, step by step. You want to set goals. You want to start your business. You want to apply for that promotion. First, do you believe that you're good enough for the job? And second, do you have the image to go with that job that they're looking for? They're looking for, as a banker, they're looking for, what kind of a person are they looking for? Marriage. Do you have the character to hold on to marriage? Then if you don't have it, you don't have to make it wrong. You can work on it step by step. So that's what the topic is about. That's what John and Kamal were saying. Everything is step by step without making yourself wrong. That's what Carol Ann always say. Make a decision. Don't make it wrong that you don't know where you made mistakes, step by step. And knowing that you get there eventually. Don't compare your life with anybody else. Because if the moment you compare yourself, the moment you store that joy from yourself, to go step by step, because you're going to want to go to the end, step by step. Over to you, Kamal.
Thank you, Nomsa. You see, it's I think it's a bit complicated, more complex than just saying don't compare yourself. We are raised in a society that automatically compares each other, right? We're raised, I'm talking in general, right? You compare yourself to your next door neighbor. Oh, he's got this car. Oh, I want that car. Oh, he's got that house. Oh, she's got this dress. I want these shoes, and that's how society is raised, to think that they can be better than another person just by looking at them and wanting to be better than them. That's one of the things that we're not taught at school either, right? Like John was saying earlier, there are things that we're not taught at school, that our existence has a purpose, that we mean something to the world. We're not basically on these desks learning from 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 just so that we can finish school and then go into being a copy paste of schooling, but in the offices, right? There's much more to that. And a lot of societies live by that rule. Oh, I'm going to go to work from 9 to 5 and I'll build up my pension. And at 67, that's when I can have a little bit more fun, when the general or the average life expectancy is at 78. So they start having fun just about before they die. No offense to anybody that has that mindset, or actually, problem with saying no offense is that I do mean an offense. So take it however you want to. Me personally, I think it's idiotic to live that way. Why can't you start enjoying your life right now? Why can't you do what you have to do, or you want to do, or you should do, between quotation, or that you believe that you should do, while at the same time enjoying it, right? That's a choice that you have. You can choose to do that from 9 to 5 until you're 68 and then start having fun and traveling the world and all of that. Or you can actually choose to have fun while you're going to work. Enjoy the work that you're doing. Enjoy the time that you're spending with your colleagues, with your boss, with your leaders, with your family, with your friends, every single day. It's a choice that we're talking about. That choice is the action that you take. That action sets you up for the future that you want. And the future doesn't necessarily start in 5 years, to be a little bit more, I know, maybe spiritual. The future starts right now. You decide today how you're going to wake up tomorrow. You decide every day when you're going to bed, oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow, I'm not going to do that. But living for the future, living comparing yourself to others as society wants it to be, what does it bring you? Looking at people to model them, now that's something very different. Watching, for instance, looking at somebody that you admire and say, oh, this person, I like these traits that they have. They're compassionate, they're driven. How do they do that? How do they push themselves? What are the disciplines that they have implemented that I can maybe model and do similar so that I can be in that position? I agree to that. Model people of excellence, right? That's the motto of NLP, modeling excellence. So why not model excellence from everybody that you see and everybody that you meet in your life instead of comparing them to yourself? You are your own person. Nobody else is exactly the same as you. We all are extremely unique, but at the same time, extremely similar. That's the paradox of life, right? I enjoy saying this. We are imperfectly perfect. Our imperfection is perfect in that sense. So instead of comparing, which is something very difficult to get out of your system, see what you're good at. Amplify those skills. What traits do you have that are unique to you? Look into them, learn how to develop them more. What talents do you have? Do you take care of these talents? You're saying you used to practice football, Nomsa. Well, you took your time to practice that. Maybe it was a skill, maybe it was a talent. I don't know. But some people get talents or gifts or whatever you want to call them, but they don't use them for their life. But they've been given to you for a reason. Whether you believe it's God or the universe, you have that gift inside of you. Use it for yourself. Instead of comparing, oh, my car is like my car is 2 years older than my neighbor's newest car. Oh, I have to buy a new car now. No, you don't. You just want to show off to prove that you're better. You don't have to do that. You can prove you're better with other things. You have to only prove to yourself that you're better. Of course, you have unfulfilled needs through parents, through schooling. That's a different story. A lot of us have these unfulfilled needs. And our behaviors do actually reflect these unfulfilled needs. So what behaviors do you want to change in your life? Look at them. Watch yourself. The best learning experience that you can have is actually studying yourself. Why do you have these behaviors when you have them? How do you want to change them? How were they in the past? How have they become? Actions that we take every day, like we said, they're choices. You can be, and to make it a little bit grim, you can be on a death sentence, but accept it with a smile. It's a choice. You can be sent on exile. I think, who was that? I think it was Epictetus that said this. I must die. Must I die lamenting? I must be put in chains. Must I then also lament? I must go into exile. That's how I remember. Yeah, I must go into exile. Does any man then hinder himself from going with a smile or cheerfulness? I think I might be misquoting, but I think that's the quote, right? And the idea behind it is, again, it's a choice in life that we have for every single thing that we do. People say, oh, I'm not happy. Well, you're deciding, you're choosing not to be happy. Why don't you wake up in the morning and say, I'm happy? Even if you don't like mornings, I'm not a morning person. I still wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and I have a smile on my face. Why? Because I choose to smile in the morning. So choices. are the root of the actions that we want in our life. Choices will decide the actions that will fulfill our future, our purpose, if you will, or purposes. Choices are what makes you happy today, right now, content today, right now, with what you have, without looking outside. But again, it's your choice.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Over to you, John. I'm not going to comment until John has said something.
Yeah, I think it's important, Kamal. You can always live a life you choose. It's like with money and stuff. Money doesn't bring you happiness. Money just gives you choices. Things don't give you happiness, but they bring stuff to your life, which, again, if they mean something to you, they can bring you a certain amount of joy. But what it is for you that is fulfilling is for you to figure out. We are all very complex human beings, but we're all, like as Kamal said, we're all very similar, complex human beings. We all have similar struggles. We all have similar ways in which we kind of see life. We're different and the same. To model those people, ones that fit into your values and ones that fit into your principles. Don't just kind of pick somebody that's doing really well in life and say, okay, how do they do that? Well, that's great. You could model their strategy, but actually, is that fulfilling for you? And I guess maybe you're not going to know until you've tried, but it's important that you think about your why. Why do you want to do something first? Not what is it that you want to do? How do you want to feel about the result? Are you going to allow yourself to engage in the feeling of the result as well? Are you one of those people that doesn't buy into your own success? Are you always looking for the next thing? If you are, you're never going to be fulfilled, because every time you reach one goal, you're searching for the next goal. So you don't actually really know what you want. All you know is that you need to keep going forwards. You keep having to keep looking for something else. We grow up externally validating ourselves. So when we're kids, everything that goes on around us gives us validation. We don't know how to self-validate when we're children. We don't kind of look in the mirror and say, well done you. That was an excellent little walk you did there with your first little legs. Awesome stuff. We don't look in the mirror and say how much we care about ourselves as kids. We're not taught to do that. Everything comes from the things and the people around us. If we're going to feel good about ourselves, it generally comes because someone is making us feel good about ourselves, because it triggers something inside of us about belonging. We need to belong as children. We need to be part of a group, because when we evolved as human beings, it was essential for our survival to be part of a group. And that's where our validation comes from. And then we get to adulthood and we are still generally externally validating, like Kamal was saying about the car and the house. If I'm like this person, I'll feel better about myself. People will see me differently. People will look at me in a certain way. I'll look at myself in a certain way. And we're not really living then to our own values and our own ideas of what we want. We're usually living in what's called get energy. So what can I get from this rather than what can I contribute? Contribution is a massive basic human need. We generally feel good when people feel good about the actions that we take. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that, and that's another probably chat for another day. But if we're living in get energy, we're never going to be fulfilled, because we're always looking to get all the time. And if we're always looking to get, then we're never going to get enough. Because again, like I said, we're going to get something, and then we'll be going, okay, what else can I get? And you're always going to be searching for it. And then when you don't get what you want, then you're going to be really knackered, because emotionally you're going to be unfulfilled, mentally you're going to be unfulfilled, and you're going to then go, oh, that didn't work, I'm a failure, or I want to get this. Or then you might go out of your way to try and harm someone else to try and get what you want, or step on someone else to get what you want. and you're always going to be moving forwards without actually recognizing where you are and what it is that you really want. To come back to Nomsa's point about sickness as well, you know, the choice of how you feel physically as well as emotionally and mentally. I had a friend who struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome for many, many years. And I kept saying to her, you need to get some therapy, you need to talk to somebody, because your mindset is so negative that you keep bringing on this yourself. Your emotions are so keeping you in this dark place, and it's draining you because you're constantly in this really horrible space. And eventually she went off and did some therapy, and she unlocked some trauma from her past, and then she was able to change her mindset. And within 6 months of thinking differently, of acting differently, of being more positive, changing her state, changing her physiology, she no longer has chronic fatigue syndrome, because she switched off all of those negative hormones which were ruining her body. You know, they are toxins. So the more negatively we think and the more negatively we feel, we get this emotional dump of hormones that come into our system. Your body needs to do something to process them. If it can't process them enough, then they stay in your body and they create toxicity, which can damage your cells, which can damage everything within you, and again creates some kind of physical outcome. But just by going to therapy and changing the way that she was able to see life, she stopped being a victim. She stopped wallowing in her own sort of self-pity as to what she was doing. And she created a completely different energy for herself. And within 6 months, she's back working. She's able to look after her children properly. She's really kind of engaged in life in a completely new way. She's actually started her own business. So, you know, just by being able to shake what she was doing forever, because of her past, because of the stuff she hadn't processed, because how she saw life, because how she saw herself, being able to shift that has completely changed her life. And I'm sure, coming back to the topic of what we were saying, if she hadn't gone into therapy, you know, she even says it now, I wish I'd done that years ago. You know, in 20 years' time, she could have gone into therapy. She could, you know, have wasted another 20 years of living an unfulfilled life if she hadn't resolved the problems that she was struggling with. So as Kamal said, it's a choice. You know, she went into therapy, she made a choice. She sorted herself out. She was able to address the issues in front of her. You know, some people go into therapy. I mean, I've been a therapist for 15 years. People will sit in front of me and talk to me about the same story over and over again. That's why I went into coaching, because now I don't allow them to keep telling me the same story over and over again. I go, okay, this is the same story. Now, what's the new story? How do we move on? You know, when I was a therapist, just a therapist, I could say that, but it wasn't really my place to say that. That wasn't really why they were there. They wanted to come and talk about how they felt, what was going on in their lives. But sometimes I'd be sitting with clients for 2 or 3 years, you know, and I was trying to encourage and I was trying to move things forward. I was trying to help them to see things differently, but they just didn't want to. Their mindset was, I am this place, I am this person, this is what's happened to me, this is how I struggle. And they would just go in and out of depression all the time, have some kind of personality, like borderline personality disorders can be caused by this constant state of negativity, because we've never dealt with that internal trauma. And again, as Kamal keeps referencing to, it's all about choice. You know, you have a choice. You can be in depression. I like to think of depression as you have been in a negative space for so long that your brain just says, I can't do this anymore. And it just switches off. It's had enough. But when it switches off from the negatives, it's also switching off from the positives. And this is where this emptiness, this black space, dark space comes from, where we just don't feel anything when we're depressed. And there's a choice there. I mean, it's, you know, once you get yourself into that space, it's a little bit more difficult, because there again, you know, you've got yourself so low, you need to convince yourself to be able to switch back on again. But actually there is a choice there, stepping out of that real negative. And in 20 years time, 10 years time, 5 years time, or even my friend, 6 months time, you can look back and go, wow, why was I that person? What was I doing to myself? I'm so glad I've made the changes. I'm so glad that I've now think in a completely different way and feel a completely different way. And I'm proud, pleased, happy with myself for making that decision. Again, because it comes down to it. It's your decision, how you live your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. I'm going to go back to Kamau. You know, when you were talking about money doesn't buy love. So I was with my friend this morning for coffee. So we were talking. She's from South Africa. And we're talking about the life story. And we're talking about, you remember how before we go into coaching, how we used to be like, you go to a therapist, they will start by, oh, so tell me about your childhood. And then you go to the GP and you'll be like, so tell me about your family history. So we were we were having fun and laughing about where we've been and where we are today. And so then I was like, so tell me about your husband. You were married before and what happened? So she was telling me about her husband. So her husband, basically the shopping malls I used to go when I was in South Africa to buy things, I used to admire her husband, the family, they owned those shopping malls. But she was telling me that, Nomsa, although I was in that wealthy living a life, but something wasn't right. People seem to think that getting married to a wealthy husband, wealthy somebody, it takes away, or getting rich, it takes away everything. She was like, no, it doesn't. Money is a freedom that can buy you wherever you want to go, the things you want to travel. It buy you the little things that you wouldn't buy, big things you wouldn't buy when you didn't have it. But she was like, inside, I was broken. I can tell you I was broken. And she was like, you see my beauty now, it went away. And my husband could not understand why I'm living this life, why he's given me this beautiful life, but I'm not happy. But she's saying inside she wasn't happy. And she had to walk away from the marriage. So for her to work on herself, she's saying her family could not get it. Why would you walk away from this life? And she was like, it wasn't the money, it was me. I hadn't discovered who I am as a person. And she was like, and that made my life miserable. And come back to what Kamau was saying, model people's traits. And Johnny was saying, have your big why. And that is very, very important. Yesterday, when I was watching this challenge, I basically did some notes of homework for Nomsa Clara that I need to do. So my homework, I'm going to read out my homework is written here and it's going to be real. So I need to work on my relationship with life. I need to improve it. The foundation of reinvent my relationship with life. I need to work on that. Although I figure some things out, I feel that there is a room of improvement. And I need to learn how the world really works. I need to improve because at this moment, I feel I'm not there yet. Some people might watch me and say, oh, Ngosi talk show. Ngosi is my name, by the way. They'll be like, oh, she's got it all figured out. But no, I haven't. So what else? I need to develop the power of concentration. So meaning when I'm asking the universe to give me something or to bless me with something, instead of me forcing the universe to do it now, I need to ask, concentrate, stay focused, wait, keep taking action and wait for the universe to deliver, so that I don't force the universe to do what I want very quickly. Because if I force the universe to do what I want, the universe is going to say, you want this, take it. Even if it's not yours, it's going to give you problems. So I need to develop the power of concentration. And I've learned on my authenticity, but I need to learn the secret of living. Authenticity is the secret of living. I've learned my true authenticity. This is my homework to learn the secret of living. And I need to learn. What else? I need to understand my legacy. When I'm working at Ngozi Talk Show, Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, John, you talk about why. I need to understand, work on my character and my personality in my legacy. Am I giving people warning, or am I giving joy to people? Warning, it means, am I saying, like, am I doing things right? Wrong, giving people warning to say, don't be a coach. I'm a coach, but my character says something else. So that's what I need to work on, my legacy. What legacy do I need to leave behind? And I need to choose to follow the life I was born to live. Meaning, what I have now is enough, but I need to do more. There is more that NOMSA can do. And meaning, Ngozi Talk Show can be more than I think. So that means I need to work on Ngozi Talk Show and take you guys to the next level. And that's my homework. And that's why I chose this topic. And I'm going to work, and I'm being serious about the homework. I even told Nadia, I do not want anyone disturbing me until end of July. You and Kamal are in charge of Ngozi Talk Show. I do not want to be part of problems for this moment, because I need to take you guys to the next level. And for me to be able to do that, I need to focus.
And that's one thing I would suggest, this is a really good idea for people listening as well as yourself, is tell people about your stuff. You know, people that buy into it, for sure, you know, because we all have those people that go, you can't do that. that's beyond you. But tell people, hold yourself accountable. Get people to hold you accountable. If you share your dream with someone, if you share where you're going with someone, and they believe in you and they support you and they can encourage you, they're going to ask you how you're getting on. You know, and you're going to have to justify the fact that you've not done it. Or, you know, you can tell them that you have done it.
And that's the key, right? You used a very important key word there, John. It's people that can support you, that will support you, right? Again, we spoke about the tribe that we live around, the people that we choose in our circle. I'm going to be a little bit pedantic on what you were saying here, Nomsa, earlier. You actually don't need to do any of that stuff. Is it something that you want to do? That's very different. You need water and food to live. All of that rest, you don't really need.
That's what I was saying earlier about shoulds and have tos, right? You don't have to do anything. Do you want to do this? Is this where you align? Is this your goal? Is this for you? Is this going to make you feel good about yourself? Is this going to fulfill your life in some way? Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, it's difficult because have to is just a word that we use. Should is a word that we use, but it has so many underlying meanings. And I think you just need to check in when you're saying, I have to do this.
Oh, no, I don't have to. But it is a choice that I know that my life will thank me later if I do this. Because when I was listening to that guy, it didn't go well when he was saying, when you listen to people, like the messages on social media, it's the messages that have been done over and over and over. It's like somebody has taken the hard cover, the original cover, and put written it differently, but it's still the same message. So it made me say, okay, I need to work on the things that need some changing if I need to show up authentic. So which means I need my personality. My personality basically is like if you were to see me on stage doing music, I had a different personality. I go crazy when I'm singing. I don't care what's happening. I just become Nomsa and entertain. My job is there to entertain. When I go to the pitch, I had a different personality. I look at my opposition team, and then I look at my team, and I say, you know that I'm in business. I protect my own people. So that means when I have the ball, for you to take it from me, you're going to have to let me know why you deserve it. And basically, when I was on the pitch, and when I get the ball, and all the players will be like, and they'll be like, until it goes to somebody else. That was my character, that I'm actually mean business. So I feel that with Ngozi Talk Show and Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, there's a room for improvement. I can improve a little bit. So that is me accepting that there is a room of improvement, which you guys are going to see it because I'm going to work. I still need to choose my partner in the group who is going to hold me accountable. I don't know who, but I need to choose somebody who is tough, who is not going to tell me what I need to hear. So I still need to choose that person. So this is where it's the things that I was writing, and I know that I need to, I don't have to, but my heart says, Nomsa, there could be more personality in Gossip Talk Show, more fun in Gossip Talk Show. So this is what I'm working towards.
Definitely. And you need to start singing the theme tune a bit then, maybe.
So Kamal, we're at the end. It's 2 minutes past 2. Any words of encouragement you have for our audience, please?
Yes, definitely. Coming to the choice, I will leave the audience with the usual quote. Today, I chose Khalil Gibran, Lebanese-American philosopher and writer and poet. Our parents bring us into the world, but in the end, we are responsible for what we become. And I think this is valid with what we were talking about as choices and actions that we want for our future. So have a look into your life. Who do you want to become? Thank you for today.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Who do I want to become? You're making things worse for me.
Or better. He's making things better for you. It's giving you more options.
Over to you, John, please.
Yeah, so as we discussed a lot, it's all about choice, what we choose. If you don't choose to change, you could be stuck in a negative self-belief. You could even be stuck in victim mentality, and you're waiting for somebody or something else to save you from the space that you're in. But you don't have it within you because of maybe where you've come from in the past to do this for yourself. So definitely seek out help if that's the case. If you really kind of don't believe in yourself and don't think you can do it, there's plenty of people out there that will help you. When you are making these changes, are they aligned with you as your values, your principles, and your purpose? Is this going to fulfill you? If you're using the word have to and should a lot, then you need to roll them up in a ball and throw them away because they're not serving your positive purpose. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Karl Barth, which is, we can't go back and start again, but we can start now and create a brand new beginning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. For me, I leave you with life is a choice. You have to decide who you want to be, like Kamal was saying, and become that person. Forget about family, their comment, they love you, they'll protect you. If they say no, you can't, it doesn't mean you have to be distracted and start saying they don't get me, they don't do this. Your family loves you. It's just that moment. It's a path that you're gonna have to take by yourself and find somebody to hold you accountable. And like Jonah was saying, make sure it aligns with your values and your beliefs. Whatever you do in life, it's a choice, but that choice has to align with whatever you believe. So which is why I've made a choice. It's a whole lot of homework. So I'm gonna do it, and I promised myself I'm gonna do it. And we'll see, watch this space. And also I'm basically bringing a good energy. I've given myself 70 days. 70 days. And I was talking to one of my friends, and she explained to me that she did it for 90 days. And I was like, okay, I think it's 70 days for me. That's enough for now. So I'm going to do it for 70 days because I can't do 90 days. I have to basically, because you have to be disciplined with everything spiritually, you have to be disciplined. So I think 70 days is enough. Maybe one day, 90 days next year. So thank you so much, everyone. For those who are watching, we are here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. So if you're watching our talk and you love the message, Please share some love with your loved ones and your friends. God bless you and live with grace.